um, let me try to kind of come down to reality and say, what's really can be done at this stage, so to say, from big data standpoint in customer experience. Now, as I kind of summarize many of these points, there are 3-4 different questions which are coming up, right? So, how do I really get this 360-degree view of the interaction? How do you measure loyalty? And how do you know what is driving loyalty? How do we assess the issues faced by customers? Is it really impacting them? Are they really frustrated about it? How do you leverage the new age media? How do I influence customers? Especially, how do you manage the customers who can influence many others when they have a negative, kind of experience? Now, if I put all of them together, maybe there are 4 areas where a majority of actions are happening from customer experience standpoint. One, on how do we really track the feedbacks? How do we make a process of continuously tracking the feedbacks and the issues which are being communicated by the customers? Customers might be communicating by answering to some of the surveys. They might be writing back an email, might be some nasty email saying that this is what the type of experience I'm getting. They might be writing in different places. They might be talking to a support agent. But how do I really keep a track of all of these and being able to figure out where exactly, in which places, which functions, which regions are we facing challenge in terms of customer experience? On the second part, it is about monitoring social activity. There's a lot of effort which goes in social monitoring, social media, analytics. If I come down to really customer experience space, social monitoring really also happens on the overall area of brand experience, so to say. But in customer experience, it is more about measuring what are people talking about, positives or negatives about certain features. Now, if I come back and tell you that people are talking very highly positive about Bridge I2I, it really does not really help Bridge I2I to take any call. But if you can come back and say, people are talking about certain things of Bridge I2I in a very positive way and certain things of Bridge I2I in a negative way, that becomes much more actionable. And that is where monitoring of social media becomes very, very important, because it can have a viral impact. Third one is about identifying triggers. I think I talked about, like, for an example, if somebody is really traveling through a particular space where there is a large retail store, the retail store understands the individual's presence in and around in the mall, and probably communicates with that individual through mobile and others on certain offers which is relevant on that day. Or can we really identify certain life triggers, like, for an example, marriage, newborn kids, various different places where they might be needing very, very specific kind of products, and being able to relate to that and go back to the customers will not only increase their chance of buying, but also improve their customer experience. And last but not the least, with all of these things together, how do I really understand the customers in a much, much more granular way and make your actions and recommendations much more personalized? Having said that, these being the 4 areas where customer experience analytics and big data can really help, let me go into 2 or 3 illustrations on how some of these are really possible and feasible. The first one I will take is really continuous tracking of customer feedbacks, and this is one of the place where I myself is really involved in building a solution called Extract in Bridge I2I. But this is an area where the idea is to really integrate different types of data along with survey data to understand what customers are really talking about your product. You go to talking about certain surveys, connect that with each of the support instance they're having. For an example, let's say we are really talking about customer support satisfaction situation, where on a daily basis there might be 1,000 to 2,000 number of support transactions happening, and somebody and after each of these support transactions, individuals are getting an email or maybe a call back and saying that, did you like the interaction? Was it solved? Was the agent courteous? Did the problem really get resolved first time? And then you connect that with who was the agent who handled it. What sort of agent they are. Are they senior agent, junior agent? What sort of products had you problem with, right? So what was and what time did you call? Which call center did you call? So all of this information can be really pulled together into a big data kind of framework, and then the idea is to really have two-prong approach. One, where you identify a few matrices which are very important for the organization to keep tracking, and keep certain dashboards which has an ability to kind of have the ability to kind of drill down and see what is happening, get a feel about what exactly are the main things which are impacting, or main regions or main segments where customer experience has an issue. And the next part is really how you identify the key drivers which is impacting customer experience. Now, is it the time taken to reach the call center? Is it the number of times number of times you have to interact before a problem is solved, or is it because the way the individuals from the call center or the contact center really talks to you, or is it the ability for an individual to solve and understand your problem? So how do you really kind of assess all of these and say what is impacting your overall satisfaction, and what do you really focus on? Because at the end of the day, you might get to feel that, okay, your customer experience is improving or decreasing, but unless and until you know that what exactly is the main reason for the improvement or degradation, and what lever you need to pull to kind of get it back to in a good shape, you will obviously not be able to kind of make any progress. So that's really becomes key, and how continuously you can do that, how automated you can do that, how easy for you to not only look at the rating kind of information, but also look at the textual comments which people provide, or the scribes which agents are writing, which are all unstructured, open-ended comments. How you also being able to kind of analyze that and see the sentiment around it becomes the key for assessing customer experience and taking taking a step on that. Having said that, let's